Hello, I'm Michael for GameWatch.com and welcome to our Dawn of War 3 review. We recently put Relic's new RTS to the test and found it to be an interesting surprise and blend of mechanics. Relic's third installment of the successful Warhammer 40,000 franchise Dawn of War series has enveloped into its core mechanics the total of 3 armies: the Eldar, the Orcs and the Space Marines. The single player campaign pits you as all 3 of these armies. In various missions you get to play as one or more of different armies and play through the events of the story and how it relates to each faction, how they interact, and of course how events shape each one. The interesting format of the single player worked very well, and it was nice to switch between factions each mission and see the events of certain things from all the different perspectives. It was also a great setup for the multiplayer, and you were able to learn all of the different factions mechanics as well as the different factions elites, and you were able to level up certain elites so that you could go into multiplayer after finishing the single player with a leveled up elite. In terms of its core gameplay, the game mixes traditional RTS combat with a little bit of team tactics with MOBA elements. So each army has your basic unit roster, which you build your base and then you build those units from those bases, and then you also have an elite system. Elites are basically exclusive units or hero units that you must spend elite points in a match to field. Once they are fielded, these powerful units have multiple abilities and are useful in a variety of situations. Coupled with that is of course faction specific abilities such as the Eldar's Eldritch Storm, which is a giant AoE attack that is used to basically destroy entire armies all at once, and you can field that again with the use of elite points. Each of the factions plays very differently and have their own faction specific mechanics. The Orcs, for example, will play very differently and they will field very differently than that of the Eldar and the Space Marines. In terms of multiplayer, the multiplayer mode is a very MOBA inspired mode. It is a mode that is derived from a Dota 2 style match in which players must compete to destroy each other's power core. Before you can destroy or even reach the power core, however, you have to hit 2 other objectives, the first being a shield generator and the other being a turret. Once those 2 objectives have been taken out, you can then open attack on the enemy's power core, which is usually surrounded by the enemy's base structures. Coupled with this, different modes such as 3v3, 2v2 or 1 versus 1, and some interesting gameplay elements happen as people field elite units and take over cover points, as well as try and buy over resource facilities. It becomes a case of there's a lot of depth within any given multiplayer match, and it's a lot of fun. The MOBA elements don't really detract from the RTS elements, and vice versa, and it's something of a hybrid that is executed very well. The game's execution and its polish was top notch, and there was very few bugs or even any noticeable glitches or frame rate drops within the entire playthrough in the game. The single player campaign consists of around 17 missions, which puts total play time at anywhere between 15 to 20 hours. On top of that is the multiplayer, and while there aren't a great variety of multiplayer modes because there's only one, which is the power core mode, no doubt that they will be adding to that post-launch. Dawn of War 3 is a great installment to the franchise. It's a game with very few issues, but it's a game that subjectively will be a hit and miss with fans of the franchise. Dawn of War 1 was a very traditional RTS. Dawn of War 2 was more of a team tactics RPG with various progression systems that are no longer in the game. And Dawn of War 3 is again changed its core mechanics to create something completely new. And it's a game that I feel Dawn of War 2 fans will probably dislike, Dawn of War 1 fans will probably definitely really enjoy, and anyone in between those two will probably get a kick out of Dawn of War 3 because it is at its core a lot of fun to play. It'll be interesting to see what kind of post-launch support Dawn of War 3 gets. With only 3 armies within the game itself, it was likely that if they stick to that, they will just add more units and add more elites to the game, as well as more game modes and map variety for the multiplayer. If they add more races, that will certainly be interesting and no doubt will probably be price heavy DLC. Overall, however, it's a game that's certainly worth picking up if you're a Dawn of War fan, if you're a Warhammer 40k fan, or you just loved RTS games. It throws some unique twists on the franchise and overall provides a gameplay experience that's well worth it, especially for both the single player and the multiplayer. And that is our Dawn of War 3 review. Thanks for watching. Head on over to GameWatcher.com for more.